Imagine two people trying to quit smoking. When offered a cigarette, the first says, "No thanks, I'm trying to quit." The second says, "No thanks, I'm not a smoker." Same action, completely different identity. One is fighting a craving. The other has become someone for whom smoking simply doesn't fit. Most of us try to change our lives by changing outcomes: lose 20 pounds, make six figures, read 50 books. We chase goals, apps, and morning routines, and then wonder why we slide back into old patterns the moment life gets busy. In this video, you'll discover a different path: identity-based habits. Instead of asking, "What do I want to achieve?" you'll learn to ask, "Who do I want to become?" And more importantly, what would that kind of person do today in small, unglamorous ways? Stay with me, because once you understand this shift, you'll never look at habits or willpower the same way again. Most people believe they need more motivation, more discipline, or a better planner. But if you've ever stuck to a habit for a few weeks and then mysteriously fallen off, you already know. Knowing what to do is not the problem. The real problem is identity. You still see yourself as the person who procrastinates, who always quits, who isn't a morning person, who just hates exercise. And your brain is wired to act consistently with the story you believe about yourself. In this video, we're going to rebuild that story step by step. We'll talk about how identities are formed, how to use tiny actions as votes for the kind of person you want to become, and how to escape labels that have boxed you in for years. If you're serious about changing, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss future deep dives like this. And stay with me until the end, where we'll put it all into a simple weekly ritual you can actually stick to. Let's start with how most people try to change. The default model looks like this: outcomes, processes, identity. First, you pick an outcome. I want to lose weight. I want to make more money. I want to be more organized. Then you look for processes, diets, productivity systems, new apps. Only after you hit the goal, if you hit it, you say, "Now I'm a fit person," or "Now I'm successful." Identity comes last. This sounds logical, but it quietly keeps you stuck. Why? Because you're acting like the same person, just trying really hard to behave differently. You're running your old self on new software. That's why as soon as the external pressure disappears, the deadline passes, the challenge ends, the wedding is over, you slide back. The goal changed your results temporarily, but not your sense of who you are, and behavior always snaps back to identity. To change for good, we have to flip this script entirely. Identity-based habits reverse the usual order: identity, processes, outcomes. Instead of starting with "What result do I want?" you start with "Who do I want to become?" The goal shifts from run a marathon to be a runner, from write a book to be a writer, from get organized to be the kind of person who keeps their promises to themselves. When identity comes first, every small action becomes a vote for that identity. You're not just going to the gym. You're casting a vote for "I am an active person." You're not just reading for 10 minutes. You're becoming someone who never goes a day without learning. The magic is this: once you genuinely believe "I'm the kind of person who," you no longer have to constantly negotiate with yourself. The behavior stops being an argument and starts being an expression of who you are. That's where consistency becomes almost automatic. So how do identities actually form? You aren't born thinking "I'm messy," "I'm lazy," or "I'm bad with money." These are conclusions your brain has drawn from repeated evidence. Every action you take is like placing a tiny vote in an election about the kind of person you are. One workout doesn't make you an athlete, but it is a vote. One writing session doesn't make you an author, but it's on the ballot. Over time, as certain actions repeat, your brain says, "This must be who we are," and it installs that identity as default. The problem is, this works for disempowering identities too. Hitting snooze daily becomes evidence. "I'm not a morning person." Eating mindlessly becomes "I have no discipline." The good news: identities are not permanent. They're habits of thought built on habits of action. And that means you can redesign them by deliberately choosing which votes you're going to cast from today forward. Let's get practical. Step 1 is choosing your new identity clearly. Not a vague affirmation like, I am successful, but a behavior linked identity. Ask yourself, if my life were dramatically better 1 year from now, who would I be? Maybe, I am a person who moves my body every day. I am a person who finishes what I start. I am a person who treats my time like it matters. Pick one or two identities that matter most right now, then define them with visible actions. If you say, I'm a reader, what does that mean in behavior? Maybe, I read at least one page daily. If you say, I'm financially responsible, maybe, I track my spending every night. Write this sentence. I am the kind of person who and I prove it by every day. This is your blueprint. We'll use it to design habits that don't just change what you do, but who you're becoming. Once you've named the identity, you need proof. And this is where most people blow it. They try to overhaul everything at once. But your brain doesn't need huge actions, it needs consistent evidence. Think in terms of 2-minute votes. What is the smallest action that would be undeniably true of that identity? For a runner, it might be putting on your shoes and stepping outside. For a writer, opening the document and writing one sentence. For a minimalist, clearing a single item from your desk. These micro actions feel almost too small to matter, but they sidestep resistance. You don't need to feel motivated to do them. And each time you follow through, you're telling your brain, see, this is who we are now. From there, you can scale up naturally, but only once the identity feels believable. The priority is not intensity, it's consistency of votes for your new self. If identity-based habits are so powerful, why don't we all use them? Because our old identities are sticky. Maybe you've said things like, I'm just not creative, I'm always late, I'm terrible with names, or I'm an introvert so I can't network. Those sound like observations, but they function as instructions. Your brain hears them as rules to follow. To shift, you don't need fake positivity, you need more accurate language. Instead of, I'm bad with names, try, I haven't practiced remembering names yet. Instead of, I'm lazy, say, I've been acting in lazy ways, but I'm learning to follow through. You're not lying, you're widening the story. One powerful move. Add the word yet or until now. I'm not disciplined yet. Until now, I've been someone who procrastinates. This tiny linguistic change creates a gap where a new identity can grow. Guard your self-talk. Every label you repeat is either a cage or a doorway. Here's where environment comes in. Your surroundings constantly whisper to your identity. If your kitchen counter is covered in junk food, it reinforces, I'm someone who eats impulsively. If your phone is the first thing you see on your nightstand, it reinforces, I'm someone who scrolls late into the night. To support a new identity, design your environment to make that identity obvious and easy. If you want to be a reader, place a book on your pillow every morning so you literally have to move it to go to bed. If you want to be someone who plans their day, keep your planner open on your desk with a pen ready. Ask, if a stranger walked into my space, what would they guess about me? Then align your environment with the identity you're voting for. You're not relying on willpower, you're building a stage where your future self is the default main character. Even with a strong identity and supportive environment, there will be days you slip. You'll miss the workout, eat the thing, or blow off the project. This is where most people destroy their new identity with one sentence. See, this is just who I really am. Instead, adopt this rule. Never miss twice. Missing once is a data point. Missing twice is the beginning of a new pattern. When you slip, your job is not to punish yourself. It's to protect the story. Say, that was out of character for who I'm becoming, and get back to your smallest possible vote the very next opportunity. You're not aiming for perfection. You're aiming for identity-congruent behavior most of the time. Progress looks like reducing the gap between mistakes and course corrections. The shorter that gap gets, the faster your new identity stabilizes and the harder it becomes to fall all the way back. Let's walk through a full example. Suppose your old story is, I'm inconsistent, I never follow through. The new identity you choose is, I'm a finisher, someone who completes what I start. First, define a daily vote. Maybe it's, I finish one small task I commit to each day. Start tiny. If you write email Sarah on your list, you don't go to bed until that email is sent. Next, shape your environment. Keep your to-do list visible and only allow 3 items per day. Cross them off with a bold marker to create visual proof that you finish. When you're tempted to quit halfway, remind yourself, the kind of person I'm becoming finishes. This is a chance to cast that vote. Over weeks, your brain stops expecting you to bail. You accumulate dozens of little completions and suddenly, I'm a finisher stops feeling like a mantra and starts feeling like a fact. Another example, fitness without the all or nothing drama. Old story. I'm not an athletic person. I always quit the gym after a few weeks. New identity. I'm an active person who moves daily. Daily vote. Commit to 5 minutes of intentional movement every day. Walking, stretching, push-ups, anything. 5 minutes is small enough to do even when you're tired, sick, or busy. Environment. Keep your workout shoes visible by the door, a yoga mat unrolled in your living room, and a short playlist labeled 5-minute move. When your brain says, this won't make a difference, remember, the primary goal isn't burning calories, it's reinforcing identity. Each short session is a brick in the wall of, I'm an active person. After a month, you might still only be doing 10 or 15 minutes, but you'll have 30 days of uninterrupted evidence. From there, increasing intensity is just a natural extension of who you already are. Before we summarize, let's hit a few common mistakes. First, trying to adopt 10 new identities at once. I'm going to become a fit, organized, early-rising, ultra-productive entrepreneur starting Monday. That's not identity change. That's self-sabotage. Pick 1 or 2 key identities and go deep. Second, chasing external validation. If your identity is I'm successful when other people approve of me, you'll constantly shapeshift. Build identities you control with your own actions, not others' reactions. Third, clinging to old labels because they feel safe. Sometimes, I'm the funny, unreliable friend or I'm the broke artist becomes part of your personality. Letting go can feel like losing yourself, but you're actually making space for a more accurate version of you. Finally, expecting to feel like the new person immediately. Identity lags behavior. You earn the feeling through repeated votes. There's no shortcut around that. Let's pull this together. You learned that most people try to change from the outside in. Outcomes, then processes, then identity. Identity-based habits flip that script. You start by asking, who do I want to become? And use small, consistent actions as votes for that new story. Every identity is built, not discovered. Your current self-image is just the running average of your past behaviors. That means you can upgrade it by upgrading your votes. You saw how to choose a clear, behavior-linked identity, design tiny 2-minute habits that prove it daily, reshape your environment so the right choices are obvious, and treat setbacks as out-of-character events, not proof you're a failure. The real power of this approach isn't just better habits. It's waking up each day feeling aligned, like your actions finally match the person you quietly hoped you could be. In the end, the question isn't, can I change? It's, which identity am I willing to vote for today? If this video sparked something in you, don't let it stay as inspiration only. Turn it into your first vote. Right now in the comments, finish this sentence. I am the kind of person who... And I'll prove it today by... Make it small, specific, and something you can do in under 10 minutes. That public declaration reinforces your new identity. If you want more deep dives like this on habits, mindset, and behavior change, subscribe and hit the notification bell so YouTube actually shows you the next videos. This channel is built for people who are done with hype and ready for quiet, sustainable transformation. Next, pick one identity you want to strengthen and rewatch the segment that hit you hardest, notebook in hand. Turn it into a simple plan for the next 7 days. Remember, every action is a vote. Starting today, cast your votes for the person you'd be proud to become.